Well, the guy hits home runs, and he hits them a lot. Tyler O'Neill is the Red Sox leader in home runs this season here in 2024, and the Red Sox are going to need to re-sign him or let him go sometime this offseason. So as we start to look ahead, we'll kind of get a look into some of these things, and we see a little sneak peek into what we're going to talk about, because you might have noticed, if you know Tyler O'Neill, you recognize him. There he is. Oh, we're actually right there, Tyler O'Neill on the screen. But we're going to be talking about another guy in this video as well, who was that last image in that intro. So welcome in, everyone. I'm Evan Sharrard, host of Red Sox Digest. Thank you for joining me once again. Or if this is your first time, make sure that you subscribe. Make sure you subscribe regardless, because this is your home to all latest Red Sox news and what have you. So let's get right into Tyler O'Neill here and why I'm sort of talking about him. He's really been having a great season so far. And the performance is the biggest part I really wanted to touch on, because when we think of Tyler O'Neill, we think of power, for those that know him. And he really wasn't doing that before the season, but I pulled up his Baseball Savant page right here just because I just think these stats are really important to touch on when we're talking about any player and we're going to talk about how good they are. We need to get a grasp of what they're doing right now, and also what they're doing compared to the rest of the league. So when I've done Baseball Savant in the past, blue means bad, red means good. These are all based on percentile rankings of all of qualified Major League Baseball. So we see a lot of red and a little bit of blue here too. Pretty much what I'm seeing here is Tyler O'Neill, when he makes contact, crushes the ball. I mean, he's in the 98th percentile for barrel percentage, which means boom. Now, the sweet spot thing is kind of interesting because of the launch angle, but he's so darn strong. I feel like every Red Sox broadcast, you're bound to hear, oh yeah, and Tyler O'Neill is the son of a former, he's a Canadian bodybuilder champion, and the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. And that's true, especially with his power in his legs for these home runs. I mean, it's clear in his arms he's got it, but I've been really happy with what I saw from Tyler O'Neill so far this year. And as the year is coming to a close and we're looking towards the future, the Red Sox really need to think, like, what are we going to do with this guy? So one of my favorite numbers here is the K percentage, the whiff percentage, and then the walk percentage. So Tyler O'Neill is not your typical three outcomes hitter, and a three outcomes hitter in baseball is strikeout, walk, home run. And it's been the modern baseball for about the past about 8 years now-ish, maybe a little less than that. But yeah, I mean, his numbers are really, really strong for a batter. These are all offensive. The bat speed's elite, which means he's just getting that thing around as fast as he can, so he's able to allow the ball to get in deeper so he can and still hit the ball hard, so he's making better contact because of that. I'm kind of surprised by the squared up percentage, meaning that he's in the 5th percentile of all of his hits squared up or swings squared up, and his expected batting average is really low, and his average is low in general, but still, you might call that luck then for some of his average, but still, it just doesn't really matter, because what he does is hit for power and hit in the early to middle part of the order, so you're really hoping that he will clean up based on guys that are on base. You want extra base hits out of Tyler O'Neill, not singles. But, of course, he'll take up getting on base any way he can. So these are his Baseball Savant stats. That's kind of my breakdown of Tyler O'Neill. Last season, he was kind of expected to just sort of hit free agency and see if anybody wanted to take a chance on him. And we'll kind of get a look at why, because he had one exceptional offensive year where he hit 286, 34 home runs, 80 RBIs, was really crushing the baseball. 48 points over the average in OPS plus, and OPS plus is on base percentage plus. The plus usually signifies that the stat will be 100 is average, Major League, anything below is below, anything above is above, and the more points below the worse, the more points above the better. And Tyler O'Neill is once again putting up very similar numbers in terms of OPS plus, only 7 off of what he was doing in 2021 there, and he's an exceptional defender. You see those 2 GGs all the way on the right side of the screen near awards. Won 2 Gold Gloves in a row with the Cardinals, and he was 8th in MVP voting in 2021 in the NL. not quite having the same season in terms of MVP, but he's batting .254, so that expected batting average, where it was down at 220, if you guys saw that on the Baseball Savant graphic, sitting 250 above what analysts expect, and he's hit 31 home runs, which leads the Red Sox. And the Red Sox have needed a right-handed power bat for a while. They got him this year for sort of a bargain, and he's also only here for just this year. And he's talked about it before. We'll get to his quote, but O'Neal's played really well, and he's played himself into a contract extension within reason, of course, because the Red Sox do have some young guys coming up, and it's a crowded outfield when you look down the line rather than just 2024. Because right now we'll see some of the guys that have played out there that Tyler O'Neal's spot is really solidified. But when we talk about the future, and we will, it's going to get kind of tough. So those are O'Neal's stats. That's sort of the situation here with how he's performed this year and why I'm even talking about this, because if this were just a random free agent who's sort of put some impact on the Red Sox, there would really not be much a reason. But we'll break down his comments now on the trade deadline here as we come over to the graphics page. And pretty much Tyler O'Neill gives you a pretty basic, I feel like this is a PR this is a PR statement, usually, is what professionals will give. Like, I don't know how it's going to go. I'm sure he's being very honest. Obviously, he wasn't traded. But this statement is pretty bare bones beyond the fact that it's like, well, I want to be here. And it's a business, so I'm not going to blame anybody if I'm not. He really doesn't know, and he doesn't want to get his hopes up, etc. And I just think that statement does show, okay, so he hasn't really heard anything in negotiations at that point. Now, that's months ago at this point. That's late July. So we're now here in mid-September, season winding down. Tyler O'Neill still performing, trying to get into the playoffs as the Red Sox hope is lessening day by day, but still holding on for hope. But Tyler O'Neill, he said that at the deadline, and he's just sort of in a limbo here, which is why I'm thinking Red Sox are going to need to make a decision here. Not necessarily an extension. And I don't know, like, let's get right into that, because that's really going to be what decides, all right, what are the Red Sox going to do? If I were the Red Sox, what would I do? I'll share all of that right here. So these are his stats. We looked at them. I'm down in the bottom right now, and we're going to take a look at the Red Sox team stats in home runs. Oh, by the way, there's Tyler O'Neill. So, we already mentioned it. O'Neill leads the team in home runs. Devers not far behind. That's what you'd hope and expect from Rafi. Jarren Duran's broken out this year, or really continued how he played last year and just played even better this year. Ceddanne Rafaela, 15 home runs. Wilyer Abreu, 15 home runs. He's broken out this year as well. Connor Wong has done the same, as his average has dipped. He was really batting well for most of the year. Now at 287, still a good number, but not quite the mid 300s that we had, not that we expected from him. Rob Refsnyder with 11, Yoshida with 10. You got the top 10 there. There's Hamilton with 8 and Casas with 8. Both have sustained some injury. Hamilton's played plenty more games, but still. My point here is really to show you what we have in terms of power, because O'Neill's number one strength is in the power that he brings. He is a fairly fast player. I'd say he's above, if I had to rank his speed, it'd be considered above average or average. Not by any means is he a base stealer, at least not this season by any stretch of the imagination. He's been caught stealing 0 times, but he's stolen just as many bases as I have fingers on my hand. This is a thumb, not a finger. So he's not going to steal you bases unless there's some change over the offseason. He hasn't hit too many doubles, and granted, doubles are a display of your power, but also the difference between doubles and home runs. He's an extra base hits machine. I'm kind of surprised by the no triples. I don't remember one from him now that I'm thinking about it. But the 31 home runs, he brings power. He's a right-handed bat. That's very valuable with Fenway Park's Green Monster. For those who don't know, the Green Monster is where you hit all your doubles if you're a lefty and you're late, or where you hit all your home runs because you just launch it over. Doesn't have to go very far. You just got to get it up. And that's what Tyler O'Neill's been able to do. Granted, he hits a ton of line drives and he hits balls hard and far. So he's been great when he's been on, and he has dealt with injuries as well. So that's kind of been his struggle. The rest of these guys are going to be the reason, like, if O'Neill is not extended, it's either going to be because the Red Sox don't want to pay him what he's asking for, or the Red Sox want to give a chance to somebody else to fit into the infield. So there is the quote we've got here. But let's take a look at some of the alternatives in the Red Sox outfield. So these two guys, Rafaela is the next here, are the guys that we have seen in the outfield this year to a significant extent. So Ceddanne Rafaela has really played a lot of shortstop. You see his positions. He's been playing all around the yard. Those numbers are not spaced out well, but 6, 8, 4, 5. And that's shortstop, center field, second base, and he's played a little bit of third as well. So Ceddanne, young, not worrying about his contract, hitting just a little bit below average. He's shown some promise. He's driven in a ton of runs in the clutch. He's hit a good share of home runs. Jarren Duran, unless he's traded in a blockbuster, this guy's a Red Sox for now. I don't think there's a really much of a shot that he goes anywhere. He's having an all-star year. He was the all-star game MVP. His spot in the outfield is certainly solidified. His defense has improved in everything. He is awesome to watch. And then there's Wilyer Abreu, who has been offensively fantastic. And don't forget about his defense as well. This guy's played right field really well. And I think that was kind of the question mark, was would he have the speed to play it? And he's had really the technique to play it. He's made some incredible catches and gone out to quite the effort to make some of these catches. So these are the main guys who are on the roster right now. Yoshida is an outfielder, but he's more of a DH right now, and his defense is not plus when compared to Tyler O'Neill. I would want to re-sign Tyler O'Neill if we thought that we were going to place Yoshida in the outfield, unless something awesome happens with a trade or something that we can't foresee. But there's one guy who was in the thumbnail, and for those who are really tuned in, you probably knew who it was. For those who aren't, I don't blame you, but here he is. It is a now number one prospect according to Baseball America. I've made a video about him. He's been talked about for pretty much all year, been mentioned in the big three prospects on the Boston Red Sox. That is Marcelo Mayer, one of them, Kyle Teal, two of them, and three of them, the name that you can so clearly read on the screen, but if you're not looking, it's Roman Anthony. And Roman Anthony has risen through the ranks over not so much time, and now he is sitting as one of the Red Sox best options in the outfield for the future. And so there are really kind of two ways that I'm seeing this right now. I'm sure there are many more than what I'm thinking, but this is really what I think we're going to see. Either the Red Sox let go of O'Neill and say, we're going to bring up Anthony. It's time. He's young. We've got him for a long time till he has to really have these real contract disputes with us so that we can work something out for long term. And O'Neill, then you I guess you get the rental. You tried to go for it this year, and it was just kind of a stopgap so that Anthony wouldn't be shook up by the big leagues and he'd be ready. Rafaela plays short right now, so Rafaela might play short, might play second, might play anywhere in the outfield, because Marcelo Mayer is going to be coming up at some point, hopefully within the next year, and that could push Rafael to the outfield, and then it makes it even tougher because Rafael is an exceptional defender everywhere he plays, and O'Neill's great too. But where does that put, Yoshida plays DH, but where does that put O'Neill in terms of, okay, well, we don't really have any spot for him because Wilyer Abreu is much younger. We've got him for a while. We want to develop this kid. It would really lend to either a trade, which I don't think would be the best move because you need to get rid of a young guy versus just let him go and you lose nothing. I just don't think it's to the Red Sox benefit. So it's kind of for these reasons that I'm just saying, hey, You got the top prospect in baseball, according to one source. He plays outfield. You got a guy who's an upcoming free agent. You've got 3 promising outfielders. One guy of those 3 that's kind of fringe infielder as well, based on where Rafael is able to play adeptly. But it does lead to this conversation. The Red Sox need to make a decision on Tyler O'Neill, and I really don't know what they're going to do. But if I were them, I think it all depends on how you feel about Roman Anthony. I have not seen enough of him. I would re-sign O'Neill for at least a season to give yourself even more time for you to be sure, yes, this is the guy that we want in the bigs. And if he struggles, hey, he can go down. O'Neill's still there. We need the right-handed power bat. That's really important. And I think that right now, Tyler O'Neill is not only our best one, but he's sort of our only right-handed power bat, and we need another one. So it would really suck if we lost that power and didn't get it back. But with that being said, that's all I think about this subject. Tyler O'Neill playing a great year so far. The Red Sox are still in the chase, hoping that they can come through. It's kind of expect the worst, hope for the best sort of situation. You'll never be disappointed. And who am I kidding? You always will. I mean, Red Sox, Boston fans, we strive for great success. So that's enough tangents out of me. Thank you all for watching. I'm Evan Sharrard for Red Sox Digest saying so long.